Welcome to today's video. I'm really excited for today's session because I have a sample that I was just listening to and I'm excited to chop it up into the MPC. In situations like this, when I hear a sample and let's say I'm not in the studio, I'm elsewhere and I hear it, I'm already getting ideas going. I like to get home, call up some drums, so when I start sampling into the MPC, I can start moving fast. Right here, I actually have a sequence 97 beats per minute, and let's go ahead and hear that drum break that I have on the sequence. If you are a part of the sample sharing program, be sure to download. I will release these drum chops to you because these drum breaks, I did sample them from some of my records, so I'm able to share them with my community. Now, for this drum break, if I'm looking right here in track number 1, I have my drums. If I open up this channel strip, this is what represents what track I'm in. This is the channel strip. I have my inserts, and I do have a pretty heavy signal chain for drum breaks. This is just my favorite go-to signal chain that will make my drums pop out a bit more in your face. So this is how it sounds without and then with. Man, this is awesome signal chain. I have an EQ, just getting rid of some frequencies and also boosting minor frequencies that I want a little more presence with. And also this transient shaper is awesome, especially for drum breaks. Do not sleep on this transient shaper just to give it some attack. Bring down the sustain to give it a bit more punch, and followed by this soft clipper, which is my favorite plugin right now. I mentioned that on my previous video. Awesome plugin, a must have if you do not have this soft clipper. And last but not least, I follow this by the MPC 60 emulator. Now, I'm not trying to compare it to the original MPC 60, but it does give it some punch in the low end. So that is the very last plug that I'll put in those drums. Now that I have that going, the drums feel good. It's at 97 beats per minute. I'm not used to making beats in 97. I'm usually in the 80s and 70s, but lately I want to challenge myself to go higher beats per minute. Let's go ahead and jump into this record that I want to sample. Actually, I'm going to go to track number 2, and I'm going to have my sample in track number 2. I'm going to create a blank drum program. There's nothing going on right here. I talked about this on my previous video. I'm going to go into my sampler, and I'm going to sample using pad tap mode. The reason why is because when I heard this sample, I already have an idea of how I want to chop it up. This just makes it a lot faster for me to get through the slices. All right, really straightforward, and I have everything already chopped up, ready to go in program number 2 within track number 2. Oh man, we're gonna have fun. This is chopped up the way I want it. Now I can go into my program editor. I always like to pitch down. This time, I'm actually gonna leave it right here. I'm noticing there's a problem that I'm running into. There's a lot of clicks and pops since I was recording directly into the program. I skipped the sample editor. So there is some clicks and pops. I don't know if you hear it, but in order to get rid of those clicks and pops without going through the sample editor, I'll go into the program editor and I'll go into envelopes. Once I'm in envelope, I will hit this little eyeball icon and make sure all is selected. So any parameter changes I do right here is going to affect every single pad. So if I want to get rid of those clicks and pops, you hear those clicks as soon as I hit the pad. I'll go right here to the envelope into my attack and I'll adjust the attack just a bit. Got rid of all those clicks and pops. And also, if you're sampling directly into your MPC and you notice that you did not get right on the downbeat, you can always go in here, affect your slices using these parameters. Awesome. Now we're able to just come up with some ideas, and then something that I chop up like this. I mean, this sample already sounds good. So here's a problem that I run into sometimes, whether if you're sampling from sample packs or there's other records that I'll listen to and they just sound good already. So like this right here already sounds like a really cool beat, and is like, what can I do to this to enhance it? Well, the beauty about sampling and being creative is being able to restructure all of this. I talk about this so much because this is the part where I'm very invested and I have so much fun being able to come up with something different from what I received. For example, I'm gonna hit play on that sequence, hear those drums, and come up with a different composition. Now, do I know what I'm doing? No, I have no idea what I'm gonna hit. I don't know what pads are going to work, but I'm gonna go based off of my instincts, based off what I feel, and especially since this is the first time that I'm going to listen to my drums and my sample chops. This is very important for me to record something, some type of idea, because again, I will say this is my initial instinct that I will never get back again once I replay this 100 times. Then I kind of get colorblind or sound blind and I don't know what's good anymore. Okay, so you notice how I'm just picking and choosing little bites of different slices. This is why it's awesome to be able to fill up your banks. Don't just use one bar. Go ahead and fill up bank A, B, C, D as much as you can, because even though you think that it doesn't sound too good for my sequence, it might work even a millisecond. As you notice, I'm kind of locking into these 3 pads, but every now and then I'll take a chunk from this one and this one, just a millisecond to switch up the groove. So let's go ahead and hear that again. Oh my God. Okay, that's all it takes. Now, notice I'm locking into pad number 3. There's something about this pad. It just loops, it repeats. And at the end, that little key that hits, that little key, I don't know, but it adds something to the whole sequence. That's why I say it's personal, because you might be listening to me trying to explain this like, man, this guy is in a whole different world. I do not understand him. Again, that is the beauty of what we do, that sometimes it's not something you can explain to somebody else. You might get it, you might not, but it's something that works for me. All right, now I apologize. If I'm moving really fast, it's because I'm excited. I'm kind of in the zone. But if you're just getting started with the MPC and you're trying to follow along and you're just like, man, this guy's moving a little too fast, I do have an MPC course for the MPC 1 and MPC Live. So if you want to go ahead and learn it, the basics of it, how to make a beat, how to sequence, how to export, have something that you're proud of, go ahead and sign up to my course. I take my time, I talk very slow, and I explain every single step of the way. Now, if you want to pick this up today, you're able to use any type of payments. We have Klarna, Apple Pay, PayPal. So if you want to start learning this machine as of today, go ahead and sign up. I'd love to hang out with you as we take our time learning the MPC. Let's get back into the video. Now, if I actually want to add a bass line, the sample was in D minor, so I can go to track number 3, open up a plugin instrument, go to sounds, let's go to bass lines, and if I go to preview right here, I actually like, let's go to basic. That might work. Let's go ahead and go to performs and put this on D minor. Okay, I think that sounds pretty good. Now I'm actually gonna, on this bass, it sounds good, but I kind of want it to rattle a little bit more. And again, I'm gonna go to this plugin, which is my favorite plugin. If you use harmonics and go down to Airsoft Clipper, this thing is awesome. It'll add some drive to this bass. This is is what we have, is the same input, the same output, so it's matched with the levels. I know somebody else had mentioned, you know what, you're probably being fooled by the gain that is adding, but it's actually matching the same input and output. Without it, with it. Now I can really hear it and I can still feel the low end. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and hit play and mess around with this right here. Oh man, that's awesome. That actually sounds great. Now we have 3 tracks, which is my sample, my drums, and my bass. I always preach this and I always mention this, that's all it takes for me, sample, drums, and bass. Obviously, you can add so much more on top of this, but for me, the foundation is those 3 elements. Keep it simple. There's a lot of people that reach out to me, asking me questions of, man, this is so complicated. There's so much. When do I add this? When do I start with my drums? When do I put my bass? When do I, you know, like, where do you start, right? Do not overcomplicate things, and especially if you're just getting started, mess around with drum breaks and your melodic sample chops. Don't worry about bass yet. Don't worry about adding different plug-in instruments. Just focus on these 2 elements and connect yourself with what you're sampling. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I have so much fun filming these videos. I hope you also have fun watching me as I chop up records with you. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys on our next video. Peace.